Well, welcome back, everybody, to Music Talk. I'm Dave.
I'm Mike.
And this week, we're checking out the new Simon Phillips. It's called Protocol 5. And I'm guessing the Protocol is just his project, and this is the fifth album. So, uh, so this one is pretty cool. You got the album cover, it's got his face on it, but I like the purple lighting. It's cool. You know, the Protocol's got a really cool little font on there. The back's all black with white letters.
Yep.
Open it up, I suppose. Probably see the whole five, right? There you go. So then on the inside, you got a picture of all the players right there.
There you go.
Tells you everything that they do, what they play. And it actually opens up one more time. It's got them all together. A couple shots of live action there. So it's pretty neat. It's a pretty cool cover considering. So on this one, we have on bass, Ernest Tibbs. Then we have Otmare Ruiz on keys, Jacob Sensney, and he's the sax player, and then Alex Sill on guitar.
Yeah, Jacob Sensney, he's a multi-instrumentalist. I don't know about on the album, but on his page, that's the way he's listed.
Yeah, and all these guys are super professionals at their craft for sure. Right. This is what the CD looks like too, by the way, real quick. It's got the 5 on there, Protocol. So yeah, Ernest Tibbs, man, what a player.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a real bass player, people. I mean, you know, when I'm listening to this, I'm like, wow, I wish I could play like that.
Yeah.
You know, he actually inspired me to pick it up. This first time I've been really inspired to pick up a bass after listening to one in a long time. So I had to learn some of these cool riffs.
Yeah, well, the thing I liked about the whole album, there were no samples.
No.
Simon Phillips's drums were phenomenal sounding. I love that wide open tuning. And I mean, the man's a master at what he's doing.
Now, Simon was saying, he was saying that this is the first one that he didn't record. He usually records them himself too, but this one he didn't. He still did the mixing and all that, but he actually had someone else do the recording on this one. So, but I mean, it's a fantastic sounding record.
Yes,
I mean, every instrument was clear, precise, beautiful. Actually, I mean, this album is close to perfection in jazz fusion.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, when I first heard it, it really took me down the path of the Rippingtons.
Yeah.
The only thing that really told me that there was a big difference between it was the sound that the drums were not triggered. They were real. And that's the only problem I had with the Rippingtons. The drummer they had is a master. I don't even know the kind of drums he used. He used Mapex.
Yeah.
But a lot of the stuff he did was triggered, and I don't think it was his choice. I just think it was
just the way they recorded it and engineered it. Yeah.
Right. But it did take me down that road a little bit. I was like, wow, this is cool. I'm a big Rippingtons fan. Don't get me wrong.
Well, I loved it. We'll go through the songs real quick, and then we'll discuss a little bit about it afterwards. So, you know, as much as I have a hard time pronouncing stuff, they're going to put me to the test on these song titles. So we're going to get some mistakes from me for sure.
Right.
So first song we got is Jagannath, which I looked it up because I didn't know what it meant. And what it is it's a deity that's worshipped in the Hindu tradition, and it stands for Lord of the Universe. So it comes from like India, Bangladesh kind of stuff. So, and I think when he wrote this, it was like the last song he wrote, and he said he was looking for something more upbeat because most everything he had was like medium paced. So he did this one more faster pace, and it kind of reminded him of an Indian style of music.
I think this is the only one he actually did in a true 4/4 format too. Everything else was was out there in time signature. You know?
Yeah, I think When the Cat's Away was 4/4 also, because he said he originally wrote that one in 3/4, and then they changed it up into 4/4.
Right.
And it fit a little better. But yeah, you're right. because everything else is crazy on this record,
It's
right?
like 13/8,
Yeah.
16/7 and stuff like that. It's like, good God, man.
So this song though, man, you know how we were talking about the hi-hat with what did we do last week? Miles Kennedy. You
Yep.
remember how we were talking about the hi-hat rising on the certain beats and stuff?
Right.
When they went into this keyboard break and he's working that hi-hat and that snare on that keyboard break, it was like, wow, unreal, right? Because
Yep.
Simon Phillips, the guy is a top tier drummer.
Oh yeah.
He's
Well,
he's a master of the drums, man.
he's
You
a
know?
top tier drummer, and if you look at what he's got set up, he's a lot. I don't say that he and Billy Cobham are from the same cloth, but they both approach a big kit the same way. They're both ambidextrous. They both
Mhm.
right hand side of the kit, they're playing right handed.
You know,
Left hand side of the kit, they're playing left handed.
there were
And it's crazy. It's just craziness to be able to do that.
there were times when that really reminded me a little bit of what Cobham would do.
Right.
He
Right.
was doing a lot of Billy's licks on here,
Oh
so
yeah. Oh, yeah.
it's pretty cool. There was the first song, like I said, it's great. I mean, the sax keys work it together was unbelievable. Um, you got this great drum solo going on in there at the end. I mean, I thought it was a perfect drum solo when he fitted in there. They were doing the breaks, and I think this is really the only song on the record that has a specific drum solo
Yeah. Yeah.
because I didn't hear any more drum solos. I mean, there's a lot of breaks and stuff, but this one was actually a specific solo at the end, and I loved it.
Right. Right. I did too. And it really is the only one that he broke out in uh, you know, showing off.
Yeah,
I mean, you can call it showing off. He's just showing his talent.
yeah,
And there are not a lot of drummers until you get to the level that he's at that could literally sit there and just mesmerize you
yeah.
for hours on end
Exactly,
just playing drums.
exactly. I
I
know,
mean,
but
it's
yeah, it's
it's
cool.
craziness.
So in the interview, also, he was talking about the intro of this. He said it sounds like the trash truck that comes by and picks up his trash. That's when he put it on there. He's like, it reminds me of the trash collector's truck when he comes
Oh
by.
yeah, yeah,
I thought that was pretty funny.
yeah.
But that's where the intro comes from. So, but it's a great song, great opening song. I mean, everybody shines. You got everything going on. Fantastic.
Yep,
Well, we
yep.
now we get to number two, Isosceles, and I actually probably listened to this song a few times on repeat because I love this song so much, man. This is everything I ever want a rhythm section to sound like. When
Oh
you
yeah.
got when you got Ernest and you got Simon playing, and man, that groove that they got going, it's that's why I pulled the bass out because I had to learn this song, and I was jamming right along with him, and it was so fun. It's a great song. There's a little call and response goes on there in the middle with the guitar and the sax, and they're playing off of each other. And man, I mean, the ending was just unbelievable. And I mean, this song to me is my favorite song on the record. May not be the best song on the record, but it's my favorite song on the record. Loved it.
I don't have a favorite on here. I like the whole I like the whole album.
Yeah,
My only about and I it's not even a complaint really, but the last song was
yeah.
pretty long.
It's a little lengthy. Yeah,
It's the long road.
yeah,
But no, I mean, I felt like that one could have been a little bit shorter. But
yeah.
I mean,
Well, we
for
get to
whatever
number
it's worth.
three. Number three, this is another one that's gonna, I had to look up how to say it because I didn't want to say it wrong. And this is Nyenga. And Nyenga, he wrote it and he thought he had an African sound about it, so that's why he named it Nyenga. Nyenga is actually in Zimbabwe, and it stands for natural beauty.
Right.
So, and the song is a beautiful song. It slows it down a little bit. They kind of slowed the pace up on this one. It's got some great keyboard work. And then when they go into that change, man, it's like it just takes you to another place. You know how jazz does
Oh
when
yeah.
you're in it, and then it just goes to another world, man. And you're like, wow. So I really like this one. I thought this one went a little bit long for me. I think, because all these songs are like 7 minutes long, just under 7, and this one here was like almost 8 minutes, Nyenga. So I felt like they could have reduced it a little maybe on this one, because you start hearing that same boom boo. It's constant, and you're like, all right, we get it. We could have shortened that one in here, but still a great song. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
So
Yeah. I'm like I say, I don't have any complaints about really anything on the album. I'm thoroughly impressed with all the players.
yeah,
And again, Simon Phillips is his drum sound just
it,
phenomenal.
it was, man. I mean, every drum was clear and precise, and he didn't overplay any. Like a lot of times when drummers do a solo record or their own record, they overplay sometimes and they drown everybody out. But that's not the case on this. I mean, everything was so perfectly matched, man. I mean, it was crazy to me.
Yep. Yep.
So,
Yep.
so now we get to song number 4. And the hardest thing about this song is how to pronounce it. So I really did have to go look this one up because I didn't know what it meant. I had no idea how to pronounce it. I'm looking at it and I couldn't even spell it while I was looking at it, right? So it's called Undewienti. Undewienti. Okay. And it stands for Latin word. It stands for 1 below 20 or 1 from 20, which really means 19. So that's what it means, 19. And you know why it's 19? Because the meter that he wrote this song at is at 1916. So you were talking about these weird time signatures.
Right.
So this time signature was 1916. So he called it Undewienti, which means 19. So that one took me a little bit, man, just to figure out how to say it and then figure out what it was. And then I found out through his interview that he was talking about it as why he named it that. So I thought it all tied in pretty great, right? Now, the only thing I had wrong with this song, and it's not wrong, it's just my opinion. It starts out with that really fast, that keyboard sound that, right?
Yep.
It's like I can't even think of what it was called, like a harpsichord almost. It's got like a harpsichord sound. But then as soon as they all come in, they go into a halftime.
Yeah.
And it was like, and then when they went to the change, it went back to double time. So I felt like when the intro was that fast, they should have came in with the double time and then went to the halftime. So it seems like they should have reversed that to me. I just thought it was a little strange how it was really fast and then it dropped down, then it went back, and it was like it didn't quite. I mean, it's nothing wrong with it. It's just I thought it was strange that you were that fast paced and then you slowed it down instantly and then sped it back up again. So it was really weird, but great songs. The keys and the guitar player had this section in the middle where the guitar player would play it, the keys would echo it, and they went back and forth for like 2 minutes of doing the same stuff, echoing each other. So it was really cool. Another great song. All right, so then we get to number 5, When the Cat's Away, which is another one of my favorites. And the reason why you're probably wondering, why are these songs your favorites? Because the drums and the bass are so awesome in this song and Isosceles together that it's just the best grooves ever, right? Because I love when you get a great drum groove and a great bass on top of it. The other stuff, whatever, right? But if you have that element, to me, you're always going to catch my ear. And Isosceles and When the Cat's Away both have that same thing going on. And man, it's just fantastic, man. I mean, the way Simon and Ernest play together, they're so tight. And I mean, jazz musicians are always tight, don't get me wrong. But there's sometimes you don't always have that gelling of the bass and drums. But these guys, man, they're just so good together. And those two songs, if you don't listen to any two off this record, but those two, man, you got to hear them, man. So When the Cat's Away is actually one that he wrote back in 2008 with his old keyboard player, Jeff Babco. And he brought it back, and it was in it was like 3, 4 time or 3 something, some weird time. But then he said when he brought it back and everybody was starting to mess with it, it ended up working out better in 4/4 time. And Ernest started doing this little thing, and they just kept it at that. But Ernest really shines on this one, man. He really rips, man. I love this song. So when the cat's away, and then
Yeah.
we get to number 6, and this is called Dark Star, and really, it does have that dark mood to it when you're listening to it. It's kind of like a spacey thing, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it,
It's it it was a nice change of pace
it was,
to throw it in there.
yep,
You
because you
know,
got a little slower, you know. So
it was a little slower, a little bit more production oriented as far as actual approach from the musician's seat.
mhm.
You know, uh, and I don't know. I just I love the album. I'm gonna have
Yep,
to actually I'm gonna have to buy the whole package. You know, I'm gonna have to go all the way back to the first protocol.
yeah, I'm gonna definitely do that too.
Uh,
So on this one, Dark Star, man, I felt like the guitar kind of took over a little bit on this one. He was all over this one, and it was fantastic. Guitar work is stellar on this one.
yeah.
It could be called Interstellar if you really want to go to that spacey world. So he's playing Interstellar.
Well,
But yeah, I
yeah,
thought it was great. And he actually named this song after that movie from the 70s called Dark Star.
yeah. Well, and the interesting thing too that I read, uh, you know, about on some of the interviews that he had, he actually every one of these musicians on this album collaborated with the writing on these things,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure with what you're hearing, like with the guitar player, him shining, you know, Alex,
Yeah.
that Simon Phillips, he talked about how much of Alan Holdsworth that Alex sound it reminded him of.
Right.
But I gotta step in on top of that though. The and this goes back to the Rippingtons reference. I've heard Jay Ferguson do a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
I mean, I heard some Al Di Meola in there,
right?
maybe a little John McLaughlin at some points.
Yep,
But
yep,
I mean, he doesn't play with that blinding speed of Al Di Meola, but he gets those tones, you know, and
yep.
the way he
Well,
plays, and Alan Holdsworth, he Alex was did the tribute with him, and he played with some of these guys in that tribute, and that's kind of how he made his way to Simon Phillips,
right.
was through that
Yeah.
Alan Holdsworth tribute. So
And well, here's the thing too, though, the way he and the sax player that
Jacob, yep,
Jacob worked together. There are a couple times they're doing twin work,
yep,
twin solos, right alongside each other, and
yeah,
it was flawless.
it
It was
was.
oh my god,
I know.
you know.
It's crazy.
So who needs a synthesizer? You just get a
Right.
good guitar player and a good sax player.
Yep.
There you go.
And I mean, even though Art Morrow was still there with them too, a lot of times, I
Yeah.
mean, they were doing triple parts, same thing, you know.
I think that's the one thing that I am going to criticize about the album. They did not let Atmara shine enough.
Yeah.
Now the stuff he was doing in the background was very busy, and it was very much a part of the music.
Right.
And he had some excerpts of stuff that he did. It was phenomenal, but it wasn't long enough.
But you know what was
Didn't.
funny? Not funny, but the times that Otmaro had solo sections was the time when Simon was a little more busy on his hi hat and snare.
Right.
So, you kind of got drawn to the drums a little bit
Got
while
distracted.
Amaro was doing his thing.
Yeah. By the time he was in, he was out, and
Right.
it was like,
Yeah.
okay, I blinked and I missed. You know.
Now the
Uh,
last song, which is The Long Road Home, I think he played more of a part in that one
yeah.
because there
I
was a
got a
great piano part in that.
I got a feeling that was one of the ones he collaborated with Simon on.
That one, him and Alex, all of them actually were on this one, I believe. They all
Right.
kind of, because he
Right.
had written this with he was in Japan playing with somebody. I can't remember who he said, and he had written that part But then he wasn't even going to play it, wasn't even going to bring it out, but they played it for the guys and everybody sat down with it and they all started working on it. And he's like, you know what? Let's just do it. And then they all collaborated. And it actually had a bass solo on this one too. It was the only bass solo on the record. Now, it also, this guy has this weird sax part, like he had this echo effect. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Like he ran it through a delay or something. I don't know, man. It was really strange there for a minute. And then it went back to the normal. So this song, man, it took you all over the world, man. It was so long. And there was so much going on in it. It was kind of hard for me on this one.
Well, that's what I was saying. I thought it was a little bit too long.
Yeah.
It could have been done. Uh, I don't know. I feel like that's one of the songs that you would definitely edit for radio, and you would probably take 2/3 of the song away.
Well, that, or you could make two songs out of it.
Yeah.
Because it really had so much going on. You could have made two songs out of it,
Yeah.
you know, but it was had beautiful passages in there. The piano work was great. I mean, I loved it. It was just long. So,
But that's one of the DJ songs that you put
it
on
is.
when you gotta go to make a phone call or go to the
Or use the
bathroom.
bathroom. Yeah. Put that 7 minute song.
Or eat a sandwich.
Yeah. Yeah. I need to do something here. Let me put this song on.
And a God of the Vita.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, I mean, there's only 7 songs on here. It still comes in almost at an hour, still just under 60 minutes, because they are 7 minute songs pretty much. You got a couple that are over 7, and the last one's 11 minutes. But to me, man, I mean, I think you have a cast of musicians that are just unreal, right? I mean, Jacob, the sax player, I mean, I've seen him on some postmodern jukebox stuff, and now he's found his way to Simon. Alex, he won a Lee Ritenour competition. That's what really got him out there. And then he was asked to do the Alan Holdsworth tribute, so he was noticed there. They brought him in. Ernest Tibbs, he's played for a lot of people, and a great bass player, a true bassist is what I say about Ernest. And then Morrow has his own thing, and he's also played with other people like Frank Gambale and all these guys. So I mean, these dudes are the top notch as you can get, really. Alex and Jacob, they seem like they're a little younger, but man, these guys are phenomenal, man. If you like jazz fusion, this album, I mean, it's damn near perfect. I mean, it really is.
Yeah, it is considered jazz fusion, but it's also considered progressive rock. And a few of the interviews that I read and reviews that I read,
I
gotta say I agree. And getting back to that one song that while we were on hiatus there for a few minutes,
yeah,
I played that one a little bit.
Yep.
I hear the Alan Jackson thing in there.
Alan Parsons.
I almost want to say.
You mean Alan Parsons?
Alan Parsons, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, Alan Parsons. Sorry, Alan Jackson. Well, yeah.
Maybe that too.
Go put on a cowboy hat.
It could be, man. That song's long enough. It's probably got some Alan Jackson in there too.
Anyway, I also want to say that it's a little bit reminiscent of some Yes stuff, like Right Around Topographical Ocean or something like that,
Yeah.
That intro.
I mean, you think about, like Sound Chaser and stuff like that. But if you think about where some of them progressive rock bands were back in the late 70s, you would have called a lot of that jazz fusion, especially if you took the vocal work out, right?
Right.
I mean, them bands were playing jazz music with vocalists.
Well, look at Emerson, Lake and Palmer. I mean, that was nothing but,
that was classical
I
music.
think, to me, the closest thing to rock in that band at that time was Carl Palmer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's not that close to being rock. I mean, he's all over the place.
But you got to think about too, Simon Phillips, man. I mean, this guy's played with Judas Priest. Michael Schenker group.
Yep.
I mean, Pete Townsend, you know,
Toto.
Toto. I mean, there's nothing this guy can't do. And there was a couple parts there, and I want to say it was in the Long Road Home where he was doing these double bass things. And I wanted to say that I'm known about Simon Phillips, and and it was in the '80s, and I saw this video. It might have been '90s. I think it was '80s though, probably early '80s. He was doing something with Pete Townsend, and they did a song called "Give Blood" live. And I don't know where they were. It was something they were raising money, but they had like 50 musicians on stage. You had,
Uh,
like a famous guitar players. I can't name them all, but there was
right.
this one part in there, and it showed Simon, and it went to his feet, and he did this double bass thing. It was so unbelievable, man, that I've probably went back and watched that on YouTube recently 100 times before I even knew he had these albums out. I mean, I was going, man, I just always remembered that, and it was unbelievable. So I was like, man, Simon Phillips, man, what a monster. And I remember Mark used to talk about it because he was a Michael Schenker fan. And he always used to talk about how great Simon was. But then I'd see him play on My Love Opens the Door, and it's like, this guy's all right, right? But then you start digging into him and say, oh, okay, all right, I see. This guy is, a master of the drum kit. So I mean, the guy's been on everything. He's played for every kind of music there is. There's nothing he can't do. So, and I
Yeah.
was surprised about him not overplaying, honestly. I really thought we were going to get some overplaying drum work, but it wasn't that way, man. I mean, it was all groovy. You had great passages. He stopped playing a lot on this record and let the rest of the guys do their thing, man, and I mean, it's like, and he
Well,
wrote these songs. So,
it's about the music.
yeah,
It's not about. It's not about selling your drum talent, which I'm sorry that a lot of drummers fall into that.
hmm,
And I'm glad to see that they're out there right now, putting on these clinics. Even Simon Phillips,
yeah,
they do these tutorials. They'll come up with these drum solos and stuff, and they'll just sit in their home studio and tape these things, or record them, tape
yeah.
them. I'm old days, but
He's
yeah,
probably taped some of it.
record these things, and then they'll stream them.
Yeah,
And I think that's a good way that a lot of these guys are getting their yayas out, and
yeah,
they're able to really control themselves in a situation where it needs to be controlled.
yeah.
You know,
I mean,
and that's one thing I think about Simon Phillips. I mean, it just seems to me like he's really leaning to the music and not to the fact that he's a drummer.
exactly. And I mean, he wrote all these songs on a keyboard, most of them anyway.
Yeah,
So, I mean, he's a musician too. But, generally when you have a drum record, you always think the drummer's going to do too much, but not here, man. I mean, so when it comes down to it, with the exception of a couple songs I thought were a little lengthy, um, I'm 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 giving this the highest score that I've given anything we've done yet. I'm giving this one a 9.7 because I love this record, man.
yeah,
I mean, I think the musicianship is so phenomenal that you gotta have this record.
yeah.
I mean,
I'm gonna give it a 9. I'm gonna
mm,
I'm gonna I'm gonna I'm gonna put it right there with what I did last week with Miles Kennedy.
yeah,
Uh, you know, I got a hard time going above 9.
I do too.
It's
Normally,
it's got to be. It's really got to rock my soul. You know.
for me, I have to have a groove, and man, there's a few songs on here where it doesn't get any better. That groove just don't get any better. I mean, I'm thinking I gave Soul Sonic a 9.5 because I felt it so well.
Yeah.
It talked to me. It made me move. It had the grooves, and that's the same thing I feel about this. Now, granted, you have a lot of the typical jazz standard runs and stuff, and everybody following everybody else. Sometimes the guitar sounds similar. There's a few parts that sound similar, but man, I mean, this album really got to me, man. I really love this record. So I'm definitely going to go check out some more of the Protocol stuff because I've been a fan of Greg Howe and Andy Timmons for a long time. I've probably heard some of this stuff, but don't realize it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go check out some of the other protocol stuff because I just think it's
Well,
fantastic.
that's what I'm going to do too. Although I do realize that this, other than Tim's, is a new lineup.
Yeah,
But what this is showing me is I'm almost seeing an Earth, Wind, and Fire type situation going on here, where you got Simon Phillips and you got Ernest Tibbs anchoring the whole lot, and they're bringing these new cats in now
yeah,
and letting them shine.
right. And it gives you a different perspective when you bring new people in like that. I mean, you
Right.
still got that rhythm section, right? I mean, they're tight as can be, man, Simon and Ernest. And I mean, I'd like to just go see a clinic with just them two.
Yep.
I'd love to see them two just let it rip, just do whatever, you know. But
Yep.
as a whole, man, I mean, I thought this was a great record. So, all right, well, we'll wrap it up real quick. So Simon Phillips, protocol number 5, I say get it, man. It's fantastic. I gave it a 9.7. Mike gave it a 9.0. Man, what a fantastic record.
Yes.
So,
And
all right.
can't go wrong.
No.
If you're ever a Rippingtons fan, this is going to blow your mind.
And like you said earlier, the drum sound was fantastic.
Yeah,
Every song.
I didn't hear anything out of place, and I did not hear any triggers or any electronics on the drum side of it.
I mean, no matter what you play, when you listen to this, you want your instrument to sound like it does on this record, whether it's the bass, the guitar, the drums, the sax, the keys. I mean, it was perfection, man.
Yep.
So they had all the tones you could ever want, you know.
Yep.
Great record. All right. Well, until next time, y'all stay safe.
Peace out. Listen to the music.